Hey guys, this is Dave. We're going to talk about knife sharpening. But before we talk about knife sharpening, it's the summertime. It's July 4th. Happy July 4th, everybody. And if you guys have noticed, we are going to start I'm going to try to go daily every weekday, but the times are going to be kind of wacko. So if you want to know when the show is going to be on, there's 3 different ways. And it depends whether you're a Facebook guy, a YouTube guy, or an email guy. You can sign up via email at bit.ly/Chinese secrets with a capital S and only one SE, so spelled really weird. Or you can also follow Chinese Secrets on Facebook. And to follow, what you need to do is just click on that tiny little follow button after you go to facebook.com/Chinese Secrets. Or if you're a YouTuber, like myself, then you can also go to youtube.com/Dave Chung and subscribe, and we will spam you whenever we go live. Let's take a look at the comments here. Miguel says, "Hey geek." Yeah. Joel says, "I have a fancy chef's knife and I broke the tip. Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, I know. I hate that when it happens. Never been sharpened either." Whoa, dude. Okay, today's the day where we'll learn to sharpen your knives. We got axes to grind together. I don't know. All right, cool. Well, welcome to the show, guys. So what are we talking about today? Today, we're going to be talking about 3 great knife sharpeners for the simple human. And I'm not talking about the knife nerd, because I'm not a knife nerd. I am a nerd in life, but not a knife nerd, okay? And I mean, yes, this is from one of those 2-sided whetstones where we can sharpen a knife. And I know how to do that too, but it's hard to carry around in my pocket because it's kind of heavy. And it's hard to carry around water all the time. And so that's kind of hard too. So it's not really travel worthy as far as a knife sharpener. So let's not use that. I also have this beautiful Shun electric sharpener that came with our very expensive Shun kitchen knife set. And I don't like electric sharpeners. This actually runs on batteries, so it also doesn't fit in my pocket. But I find that you can't get the butt end of your blades sharp if they have a bolster on the handle, because the knife sharpeners always seem to have this blockage to the knife sharpening, and they take off too much metal, and they heat up your blade if you don't know what you're doing really well. So let's not go into electrics, okay? Let's not talk about that either, all right? Now, what I do use are some really simple tools that I've tried to figure out, okay, what's the fastest way, what's the most portable way to sharpen a knife, and what's the actual best way to sharpen a knife for an average person who doesn't want to figure out what a 20-degree angle or a 15-degree angle is, right? So, let's not go into the actual physics of sharpening a knife. What you need is a blade, right? We need a blade, and we need a sharp blade. So Janet says, "Can you put the camera up a bit? The live and I button are covering half your face." Really? Half my face? I don't mind if you covers my face. Is that okay? Because I can just go to the B-roll. This is the B camera. And so we're going to actually talk about B-roll and knives. And so is that okay? Sorry, Janet. I don't like my face anyways. But anyways, we'll continue on. So there's 3 different tools that I would love and recommend. And as always, in the description, I have all the links. There's a link over there that will take you to everything and all the knives, that you see here. Plus, if I do have any updates or I change my mind and find a better tool, I will also put them in the description. So make sure to check out the linkers, okay? Awesome. First up, I don't want to cut myself. Okay, Speedy Sharp. This is the first tool that I would recommend, okay? Now, this thing is not going to be a super accurate way that you want to use on your very favoritist knife, okay? I will warn you that this is just simply, let me take off the little plastic sheath thing, okay? But it's tiny, it's pocketable, and it's just got this little carbide edge, okay? But if you've got a inexpensive knife, and something that not that you don't care about, but that you don't mind, that isn't that expensive, okay? Well, this takes off a lot of metal very quickly, and how you use it, for example, on this, which is my camping knife, Bear Grylls non-folding knife. What you do, let me get rid of this thing, is all you do is you take your knife, right? And then you take your Speedy Sharp, put it against the knife edge, and just go, that sounds really weird. Flip it over and do the same with the other edge. And you actually take a lot of metal off very quickly. And you'll notice that all the knives that I choose have a serrated edge part to it, and those are a little bit tougher to sharpen, but I like serrated edges because they allow me to cut through rope and other things like that much simpler than if I just had a straight edge. The problem with serrated edges are they are a bit harder to sharpen, okay? And if you take a look at this or listen to this, I'm not pressing very hard into the metal because this does take off a lot of metal very quickly. And that's why I love it. It's called a Speedy Sharp for a reason, because it takes off a lot of metal very quickly. Now, you'll notice that I'm going against the knife blade to take off metal. But when you're closer to a sharp edge, what you do is you flip it over. And then now I go with the Speedy Sharp I just flipped over. And now this is quote unquote the honing edge. It's not going to be very exact at all. Actually, this is like the roughest version. And that's still not sharp. I need to sharpen this baby because this thing is so dull right now. But you get the point. But if you need to get like anything from like an axe or anything else sharp quickly, and you don't really care about a refined edge, the Speedy Sharp is a pretty decent tool to do it. And it's so pocketable, you can bring it anywhere you want, which is really nice. Now, again, I don't want to use this on like my favorite knives. Ooh, that sounds awkward too. But this is a good tool to get sharp, right? And it's kind of a weird thing because the nicer the knife, the harder they are to sharpen, because the better the metal usually means the harder the metal, which means it's going to be harder to take off metal to sharpen the edge. So catch 22. But if you're going to buy a good knife, then you want to make sure that you keep them sharp because it's just safer that way. You've probably heard the phrase that the most dangerous thing in the kitchen is a dull knife. And I would agree. It's way better to know that where your knife is going to go when you can control your knife edge, okay? Now, I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is just a camping knife, right? This is just the Bear Grylls camping knife. And the nice thing about it is that it's got a full, what they call a bolster. So the knife is connected to the actual end. So you can use this as a hammer. And so if you're wanting to baton stuff, you can actually hammer this thing and it's pretty safe, okay? But I would not hammer something like this. But this is my very favoriteest everyday carry knife, okay? And this is the Spyderco Delica 4 with a VG10 blade. Okay, now again, you'll notice that I do choose the serrated edge, okay? But this blade is like, it's super sharp. Like, whoa, yeah, you probably saw that flick off some fingernail. Okay, like don't kill me. I don't want to kill myself. And it's got a locking back blade. You just press the back of the handle here, and then it folds up in half. And the nice thing about the way Spyderco has that little circle is that you can just flick it open with one thumb and it's open. And you can make it left-handed or right-handed. There's a belt clip that comes on it. But I warn you now that VG10 metal is very hard to sharpen. And so I don't use this for opening cardboard boxes because that dulls your knife a little bit faster. But I love this knife as the lightest everyday carry that I have. And so I have other ones as well from Kershaw and all that jazz, but this is the one that I actually choose to carry because it's so light. You don't even feel it in your pocket. Anyways, I digress. And again, links are in the description. But okay, so Speedy Sharp, okay? That'll get you a rough edge, okay? So if you've got an axe, if you've got like a camping knife, that's a great little knife sharpener to bring with you, okay? And you're not going to refine your edge very much, but it's really quick to get metal down. Now, there's another one, and I usually carry both of these together, all right? This is the Smith, I think it's called the Sharpening Pal or something like that. And this little guy is kind of neat. It's got a carbide set angle, then it's got a ceramic for honing, and it's also got this little thing that's got some roughness to it. It looks like a file, but it's actually circular. And this is kind of useful for some edges, but I find that the grit on this piece of metal disappears pretty darn fast, so I don't really like that. So anyways, but this is really nice. So after you've got a lot of metal off with your Speedy Sharp, you can take this and you can refine your edge just by pulling it through. And usually it's for right-handers, really. It's got these little 2 finger grips, which is kind of nice. And then you just pull it through. And there you go. And the carbide side takes off a lot more metal. That's the same kind of metal as the Speedy Sharp has. And then after you've gotten that narrowed down, you can go to the ceramic side. to finish your edge, okay? And that's how to use this guy. We're getting there right now. Cool. Now, that being said, when I travel, these are the two that I bring with me. They're small enough that I can put them in my go bag if I'm going camping. And if we're going to be renting a house, Airbnb, or if we're going to a hotel with a kitchenette and we're going to be doing any kind of cooking or potentially any kind of cooking, then these are the two things that I bring with me because I don't need to bring a knife. I can just sharpen the dull knives that are there. And then I can get going and cutting and be safe. Cool. So those are the two that I recommend for travel and that are super simple. And remember, just be safe. Don't kill yourself. Hey, that would be bad. That would be very bad. Okay, cool. Now, let's say, Dave, I need something a little bit nicer because like Joel, you have that really nice knife, right, that you have. But like, what's the guy to do if you're going to have a nice knife and how are you going to keep that sharp? I'm so glad you asked. Okay, and now this is the one that I would recommend, okay? Now, this is the one that I leave on my kitchen counter, and it's the Spyderco SharpMaker, triangle SharpMaker, okay? Now, I've had this for literally probably maybe 8 years, and I love this thing. I'm on my second set of triangles because my first set were actually damaged because I've worn them down so much from sharpening and learning how to sharpen. And out of the box, this is not inexpensive. Like the other two were quite inexpensive. This is not inexpensive. I think it's about 60, 70 bucks US dollars, but it is a great way to sharpen. It comes with two sets of triangles. One is going to be a little bit rougher than the second set, which is the white set. This is for honing, okay? And the cool thing about the SharpMaker, there's a lot of videos out there that will tell you how to use this thing. Everything packs up into this little guy, although it isn't quite portable. So I used to pack this up and bring it to my sister's house. And if you've got friends that you really want to help them keep their knives sharp, then this might be a good way to go. But honestly, it's a bit bigger and bulkier than I'd like it to be. But here's a couple things to make sure that you know. There's two different sides, and this is kind of like just the cover, but it's also the clamp, okay? There's a 30-degree, what they call the back bevel, and then there's a 40-degree, which is called the edge. Now, okay, how are we going to explain this? If you take a look at the knife blade, right? This is the knife edge, okay? Pretend this is the knife edge. Well, before you hit to the actual tip, the tip is what they want to keep at a 40-degree angle, okay? But before that, you want it to be a little bit sharper, so they have a 30-degree angle there too. And if you have some really thin blades, like Japanese blades, some people keep them at 30-degree angles, right? The problem with keeping it at a narrower angle is it's a little bit more fragile. So unless you've got a very hard metal, they're easier to dull, right? But it keeps a super sharp edge. But okay, so here's the thing. This, you can choose which edge you want. And I typically stay to the 40-degree edge because I find that my knives stay sharper longer when I use a 40-degree edge versus a 30-degree edge, okay? So how you use this guy, don't forget your guards. They've got these little brass thingies that just poke right in. And that protects you from slicing off your fingers when you're holding on to the Spyderco, okay? Now, first off, what you do, you take these triangles and you put them in. You go, Dave, how do you use this sharpener? Well, I got this really dull Shun knife, okay? And so what we're gonna do is actually sharpen it together. So you put the edge facing inward, okay? And the beauty of the Spyderco is that it keeps everything. You don't have to know the angle that you're pushing down on. You just need to slice down like you're slicing a tomato. All right. And so you need to do about 20 passes and don't use a lot of pressure because you don't need to like force it down and use all your strength. What you're doing is letting the weight, about 3 pounds is all you need, or 5 pounds is all you need to push this down. And I know some people will say, Dave, you're going past the edge of the point. And so you can stop here if you wanted to. You'll notice that my edge tip is a little bit rounded because I don't, but honestly, I don't find it's a big deal. And this knife is kind of ruined because somebody in my house, my father-in-law, had chipped this beautiful knife down at the bolster area. So we had to grind it down, which was a sad day in my life. But so take a look at this. And if I wipe this, I don't know if you can see my finger, but it's gray because it's taken off metal off of this blade. Now, Shun knives are very well made. And you'll notice that I'm pushing this time instead of pulling the knife through. And that way I can make sure I can get right to the bolster edge sharp as well, okay? And so I go about 10 passes aside, and because I'm going one side and then another side and then another side and then another side, it's really easy to keep an even edge. A lot of the other methods of sharpening minus electric or pulling through a V make you do like one side first and then another side, and then it's hard to make sure that you're even, right? So this is a beautiful way, just very simple, and it's kind of cathartic, right? It's like Zen to sharpen your knives. So I'll literally just sit here and sharpen my knives and have fun. I know that sounds weird. I'm just a weirdo, okay? So, okay, now after, ooh, that's sharp. Okay, good. All right, so after we've got a bit of a sharp edge, what you do, you just take these two triangles and you turn them so that you have a flat side. The flat sides are facing each other, okay? No longer the edge is facing each other, now the flat side. And now this time you'll notice that my knife sits flat against the edge here. So now, again, we just go like this. And so if you imagine this being a sharpening stone, this is literally at 20 degrees on each of those sticks. And we're just taking off a little bit more metal. And because it's not a hard edge that we're pushing against, we're actually refining the edge at the exact same angle as we did before. And again, don't push too hard. And if you take a look, I'm starting on the tip and I'm ending at the edge of the bolster here. I'm not sure if you can see that. So I'm starting at the tip and then I'm ending at the edge of the bolster. And I mean, sooner or later, you'll figure out your own rhythm. And I start from a push and then I'll switch after a couple strokes and I'll start at my bolster and I'll pull. So from a push to a pull. And again, I'm not going very hard, okay? And right now, you are literally helping me sharpen my knife. And by the way, shoe knives are beautiful. If you get one knife to spoil yourself, I would recommend this knife. And we actually are spoiled because we have a set, thanks to a good friend. Thanks, Manjeet, for helping us out buying this. But we love our shoe knives. And really, it's a lifetime investment if you can keep them nice and sharp. Now, ooh, oh, that's beautiful. Okay, now, some people will leave it at that and just use the gray bars to keep their kitchen knife sharp. I like to go one step further, and I like to use my ceramic triangles. Now, watch out. These can actually chip pretty easy. So I'm going to put these in, and now I've got the edges facing each other again. So these are the triangle. This is the sharp edge facing each other. Not sharp, but sorry, the edge of the triangle facing each other. And now we do the same thing again. We just start and we just push through. And because this is a harder ceramic than the metal, we are kind of honing the edge, okay? So just push it through. And now I'm using quite a light stroke. I don't need to push down almost at all. And the lighter the stroke, the better. Now, if you really wanted to get a super sharp blade and like shave your face with this knife, you could, after this 20 passes, I didn't do 20 passes, but you can face the flat sides against each other and do a final pass going through and going 20 strokes aside, and then you would be having a super sharp blade. All right, and because the SharpMaker keeps your angles right, all you need to do is like slowly pass the blade and you're going to get a super sharp blade after a while. Okay, now here's a super tip that I will want to share with you guys. I'm a lefty, so if you look at this might look weird to you, but I know they come with 2 of these safety bars. And these safety bars is in case you miss and you go above, and so bam, now I hit the soft brass versus my finger getting chopped off, right? Well, they come with 2 of them. One goes here and one goes back here. I only use one that comes closest to my body. If you're right-handed and you hold this with your left, then you would be on the other side, right? Okay, so the one closest to my body is here, all right? And that still protects my hand from a knife coming down. But what this allows me to do is it allows me to push my SharpMaker Pro all set up against a wall. And so this sits against the counter wall on my kitchen counter behind my knife block, okay? Why, Dave, do you leave this on the counter? Because this is also a really easy way to quickly hone your knife every time before you're gonna do a cutting job, okay? So I just pull this off of the counter. I just pass it a couple times through this. I use the edge of the triangle of the ceramic for my honing, and then after that, I start cutting. And what this does is it just doesn't really take off a lot of metal. It just makes sure that your edge is sharp. And if there's any pieces of metal curled over, it will just push them up so it's ready to cut for you, okay? So I love just having this on the counter, and I find that it's more accurate than those honing sticks, which we also have, just because I want to make sure that I keep the edge exactly the same every single time. Oh, this is scary sharp now. And so that's all it takes. Now, these have been refined over years because we've been using this system for years and years and years, okay? So it's quite simple for me to sharpen them now. But if you need to take off a lot of metal, again, really, these work. Like the stones work really well, but you just got to know your angles. And if you're not, secure, and one of the reasons why I tried to figure out a good knife sharpening method is because these are hundreds of dollars. Like you could spend a lot of money on a kitchen knife, right? And I didn't want to ruin them. And so this is a great way to keep them sharp over time and hone it as well. Just keep it on your counter and keep them sharp whenever you need to like refine the edge. And I don't really sharpen my knives maybe once every couple weeks, depending on how much you cook and what you're actually cutting. This works for pretty much anything. And so the SharpMaker from Spyderco also comes with a great video. It's really old school, but it teaches you how to sharpen everything from literally a fishing hook to scissors using this little system, which is great. So highly recommended. So that's all I got today on how to sharpen my junk. And so Brian says, let's go take a look at the comments. Whoa, you're reviewing everything. Yeah, you know what, Brian? It's weird because it's just stuff that I like and stuff that I recommend to my friends. And so over the past couple of years, a bunch of my buddies have bought this and they sharpen their knives because I used to go over and bring this over and sharpen their knives for them. Okay, anyways, but Jason Group, good to have you here. Brett, good to have you here. Mike, Alistair, Kane, good to have you here, guys. So that's how I keep my knife sharp. Do you guys have a better way? Do you guys have a faster way? What's your favorite way? I'd love to hear from you guys. Hit me up in the comments. And for those of you who are new here, we are going to be changing to our summer schedule. So it's going to be a little bit more randomized in the timing. So you can choose to sign up via email, via Facebook, or via YouTube as well at YouTube.com/Dave Chung, or at Facebook. Just follow me on Facebook, Facebook.com/Chinese Secrets. Chinese Secrets spelled really weird with a capital S. Or you can also subscribe via email at bit.ly/Chinese Secrets with a capital S. And only one SE. So weird. I know. Yeah. But other announcements, stay tuned. We may have a special guest tomorrow and talking about Panasonic for video and for stills. So I'm really excited about that because I've been researching a lot for video cameras for some clients on Livestream Geek. And I'm really impressed with what Panasonic is doing in this field. They are really pushing the boundaries. So if it doesn't happen tomorrow, it'll happen next week. But stay tuned and sign up, please. I would love to have you here. And as always, thank you guys for being here. You can share, you can sponsor, and you can also subscribe to the show at ChineseSecrets.com. And if anybody wants to learn how to live stream, check out Livestream Geek. Make media worth watching. Do you like that? I kind of like that. It's pretty cool. Well, happy July 4th, guys, and we shall see you tomorrow. God bless.